Hey everyone, welcome to My Travel Cafe podcast. My name is Lissa Callahan, and today we'll be talking about energetic protection tools. Welcome everyone. Today we'll be talking with Bob Randklev, an energetic healer and teacher. He's going to explain a little bit about energetic protection tools and what they can do for you. He's also developed a wonderful program having to do with self-development, but also with different types of tools that can help you energetically to know yourself and to feel protected. So without further ado, Bob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so looking forward to this and enjoying our time together. My background, I'm just an average guy born in the Midwest, but I've always felt this connection. And, my mom died when I was 5. I was the oldest of 4, and all my brothers and sisters, we all seem to have this connection. And throughout life, it's done me very well. But I realized I was kind of told, like maybe some others might be hearing this. They were told, oh, just ignore that. Put it behind you. It isn't real. Well, I'm here to tell you it is real. So you just have to find the time and the tools and practice to learn how to connect. So that started for me over a decade ago when my youngest child went off to college. Now, all of a sudden, I have this free time that I didn't have before. So I started pursuing what is an empath. And I wanted to look into Reiki. And before I knew it, a couple years later, I was a Usui Reiki master teacher and still love everything about Reiki. But it wasn't specific enough for me. So that took me into the emotion code and the body code and all the amazing things Dr. Brad has done. It allowed us to do, I don't want to take away from Reiki or say this the wrong way, but I was able to take Reiki to a new level. I was able to use muscle testing to work with a client who had a specific issue, to find a specific imbalance, to kind of release those. So, and I've helped hundreds of clients around the country over the years, just enjoyed it tremendously. But I got to a point where I can only do so much one-on-one with people. I need to start teaching others how to heal themselves. And then I've gone through clairvoyant training for 18 months. And I think once you get into the energy healing world, you can't stop. It's just an amazing world out there to learn about this other world. There's so much I've learned. And I also found out when I would bump into someone who wanted to hear about this, or they want me to tell them more, not like this great audience, you could overwhelm them really easy. I mean, it was too much fast. So I focused on really connecting with my guides and saying, okay, what are the major tools? What if I was going to take someone who said, I'm ready to learn, where do I go? And that's where I've been working on my courses and my website. I've got 2 of them, but startanew.com focuses on those 6 energetic tools that we're going to talk about today. One of them being the protection tools. That's just some basic tools that if everybody could use these 6 tools, we'd have a completely different world and a more amazing world.
So Bob, that's actually what prompted me to want to interview you today, is that I had seen some of your online courses that you are offering. And one of the topics I feel like is one that many people look to when they're first getting interested into the spirit realm. I think there's sometimes some fear out there. There's pictures from things that we've been brought up with. It takes a little while to clear that away. But there is a benefit, I think, to protection tools and energy shielding. So if you could, for me and our audience, just explain a little bit what is energy shielding and how is that beneficial?
Yeah, energy shielding is highly important. Number one, I hate to say number one, but because a lot of people aren't aware that they should do it. So right away, we're walking around totally unprotected. No one's really made us aware of this. And just like we have antivirus software on our computer, or you might have the spam blocker on your phone, or we have these, we're putting in protections to protect us in the physical world. Why aren't we being made more aware of putting out some protections in the energetic world? Because there are lower vibrational energies that love their life, but you don't love their life. They want to pull you into their, what I call lower vibrational world that's not fun. It's the fear, it's the hate, it's the drama. It's not where we want to be, or many people call the negative energy world. And so, one, being aware of that, we need to put up some protection rules. But I agree with you, too much of this, and too many others want to promote this as being such a nefarious. I mean, yes, there are curses and there are entities out there, but they're not like Hollywood makes them out to be. They're not as scary, but they're pretty annoying. They really mess with your mind. And so when I teach and talk to people about finding the center of your head, a lot of these energies will pull you out of the center of your head. Like you're pulled into social media, you're pulled into news or politics or somebody else's life or some other drama going on. I mean, you're being, one, pulled out of your head by these energies. And then number two, when you get back into your head and you start cleansing and clearing and getting rid of some of these energies, the last thing you want is them hopping on again or attaching or becoming connected. So we need to put up these protection roses, these protection tools to put up a barrier. We have to do something to kind of hold them back and block them and protect yourself. So don't stay awake at night thinking you're being attacked by curses and entities, but be aware there you would be better off not having connect to you and blocking with these tools.
Right. Well, I think too, just thinking about it logically, everyone out there is in a different space, right? So some of us have maybe a higher frequency, some of us might have a lower frequency, and we know when we're around those because suddenly we feel less great. And I think one of the examples that a teacher explained to me was, or to the entire class for that matter, was being able to know who you are. This is my space. That's your space. And being able to separate. So I know your tools are going to be really helpful when we get to talking about that. And we talked a little bit about the benefit, right, of having tools. Do you think that you need to be psychic or clairvoyant or any sort of intuitive to be able to use these type of tools?
No, it's a knowingness. It's an awareness. Just like we learn a language or a second language, you go to school and learn. It's just you're learning another language. You're learning a new topic. It's just becoming aware of these things. And the world has just put the label on it commonly as psychic because we can't necessarily touch it. They can't necessarily prove it, but we know it's there. I mean, we sense it. We know it. It is there. So no, you don't have to be intuitive. We all are intuitive. I mean, right. You sat down and thought about what goes through your head. Do you really think those are all your thoughts? I mean, come on. You have to. Those thoughts are coming from other places, other energies, other entities. I mean, we're surrounded, in Reiki and emotion code or body code, there's all these, we talk a lot about our subconscious. Our subconscious, you've seen the icebergs where 90% of our life is stored in our subconscious, right. And we only 10% of our conscious. But what is that subconscious? I've come to understand and believe that, that's our ancestors and our spirit guides, our archangels, angelic beings. These are our team, that's here. So we all have those. I think most people understand they have their ancestors and their spirit guides. Now, they may not know about a healing master or some of these other terms and tools, but we all know we're guided. We all know we have some intuition. So no, we don't have to be.
Perfect. I love that explanation. That's wonderful. So what are just give us a basic idea of some of the energetic tools that you personally use. And then we'll get into those a little bit later, but maybe ones that people have heard of, like grounding or that type of thing.
Yeah. The grounding tube is probably one of the most revolutionary tools I put at the top of the list that I wish. And when I talk about the 6 tools and someone said, no, just give me one, this is the one. Is grounding tube. I mean, imagine, if you're sitting, as you're listening, sit and put your feet on the floor and your hands on your lap and just imagine a tube coming up over your lower extremities, over your legs, over your bottom, over your waist. It locks in right at your waist, and it's a tube the size of your waist, and it locks in, like clicks in, and then it drops through the floor, goes all the way down to the center of the earth, it burrows through everything, down to the center of the earth, locks in effortlessly. And then there's a switch on the side. You kind of psychically go down and touch the button, flip the switch, whatever you want to call it, and it starts this vacuum to start vacuuming out or getting rid of this energetic waste, energies that aren't serving you, energies you've picked up from past life experiences. Again, as I mentioned, social media, news, politics, relationship. I mean, all these energies, when you're feeling down, feeling in a funk, you're feeling just not yourself, put on one of these tubes, close your eyes, and just imagine this energy being sent down and get rid of it. And just, it's not serving you. You don't need it now. And just like we get rid of physical waste every day by going to the bathroom, and we're not going to expand on that, but it's the same kind of, we get rid of our energetic waste and our energetic body cleaned and flushed out as well. Because otherwise, when it builds up and it becomes too much, it becomes that baggage you're pulling behind you. It's just not as fun a life hauling that behind you. You've got to get rid of that and get into a present. So, and then grounding tubes, I use many times a day on my waist down, but I'll ground out many things. You can ground out your home, pets, things. I love to golf. I ground out my golf bag and my golf clubs. So, I mean, you can ground out a lot of things in life. If you see someone struggling or something going on, I'll try to just ground them out and clear that energy. So you can ground out a lot of things and clear that energy that might be built up in that physical body.
Right. And I think we're so unaware of how much extra energy we hold within us, you know, when you run into people at work or at the bank, and it, like you said, it just builds and builds, and eventually it becomes so part of you that all of a sudden you start thinking, this is how I am. This is how I'm supposed to feel. And then once you start using some of these tools, particularly the grounding tool, oh my goodness, it's a whole new you. Because you had all that unconscious energy from others, you know, whether that be low vibrating or just from your family, because you're constantly taking in, especially for people like you and I that are probably a little more sensitive, you know, to people's emotions and the energies that are in a room. So while I think it's beneficial for everyone, definitely for those that are very sensitive to energies, I agree. So when I mentioned earlier, I noticed that you were doing and I believe it was a video on the protection rose. Can you tell me a little bit about what the protection rose can do for you?
So the protection rose is a rose, big, like 10-foot rose you envision out in front of you. I like to use the colors of the rainbow. So I'll start with a big 10-foot red rose and ground that. So I'm going to put a grounding tube on that rose and send that down to the center of the earth as well. And then on the front of the rose, I put a big smiling picture of my face. So my face is on the front of the rose. And this is a decoy, basically, that's out in front of me. So if somebody's, like you said, you're at the bank, somebody's having a terrible day and they're just fuming. I mean, that energy can be coming right out of their eyes. I mean, it can be being sent to others. They're not knowingly doing it and you're not knowingly accepting it, but it happens. So if others are sending you energies, be it not knowing, or if there is a nefarious person who's upset with you, the protection rose can block that or intercept that, because the energy thinks that's you. And then it gets diverted right down to the center of the earth. But one rose won't do it. So I have to put up a ring of them. So that's why I then duplicate it: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, all the way around. So I have this protection roses outside of my aura, all the way around me, as like a layer of protection. I've also, with a number of clients, used the metaphor of, you know, being a superhero. I mean, you can also, in addition, not one or the other is right, but put on your superhero suit, you know, have your sword, have your shield. I mean, when things are happening, if you're going into a situation and there's lots of energies coming at you, block them, cut them off. I mean, just don't let them. I mean, that's back to where we started. People need to become aware of, you can block them, you can stop them. We just have to be a little more active in doing that every day, and not just being unknowingly a victim, being attached by these energies and taking on these other energies.
Right. And then, like you said, once we cleared our energies, you became more aware of what you should feel like. So then when that starts happening, you can really feel it. You're like, oh my goodness, this is not me. Right?
When you remove long ago, like when we were children or growing up, we had an incident that caused a vibrational imbalance somewhere in one of our chakras, that imbalance becomes like a magnet and other things attached to it. When you have another similar argument in life, they continue to add to it and they grow. So when you finally dig in and you find a way to release those and get rid of those, that starts a healing process that can take hours, days, weeks. So when you're going through that healing process, the last thing you want is other energies coming in. So it's really important to have those protection tools up to allow your body to try to heal itself and replenish and rebuild and be protected along the way. So
now you talked about how we can do this for our own personal space and even your golf clubs. But do you ever use these tools like to clear your living space or any personal space like your work or your office?
definitely. I mean, I've used them on my vehicles when we're taking a drive, going somewhere. I want to protect that. I want to ground out any energies that are in that vehicle. I ground out my office every day. But when my first meditation of the day and subsequent meditations, I'm always grounding out the room that I'm in. So with my eyes closed, I'm grounding out all four walls, ceiling, and floor. So wherever I'm at, I'm always grounding out that area. I've gone so far as to put a grounding tube into each corner. So each corner of the ceiling, each corner of the floor, that's 8 grounding tubes that you're sending down, and you're just sending all the energy out of that room. So if we're going to an event and I need to ground out that room or that space, we can definitely do that. So yes, you can ground out your home, your vehicles, any object we want to ground out that's important to us at that point, that experience, that what we're having that day. Yes, we can ground those out.
Perfect. I believe I even use one of your tools for my home. I put the protection rose outside my home. So it has its own with a picture of my home inside. So yeah, I think that's wonderful. Protection tools are so important for so many different things. So I guess we talked a little bit about grounding and a little bit about differentiating between the energy of yourself and someone else. So I think that's wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit more about the program that you teach and some of the different types of tools that you teach in your program?
Yeah, the 6 major tools that I found, we broke into a 4-week program. And the reason it's 4 weeks is, as we started, this is kind of a new way of thinking. It's a new learning experience. I would love to take an hour or two and just explain all 6 and go into detail, and you can't do that. But I'm not this. We have to get past the logical memorization of this, and we have to get into it being a habit. We have to have it be second nature. So week 1, we talk about grounding tubes in detail, and when you ground out the information out of your body that's not present or best for you, we need to fill that body back up with what we call the golden sun. So that's the second tool. So golden sun's a sun, big 10-foot sun you have over the top of your head. And you're going to fill that with golden energies. And so we talk about how to have your guides fill the energies up in that golden sun and bring it down and crack it over your head a lot like an egg, so that energy can run into your body, your chakras, your aura, and fill in those voids and gaps. Because you're putting in a grounding tube to get rid of things, you've left a void. So now we need to fill that with that good golden energy, and that we use the golden sun for that. So then there's a meditation that we practice. It's only a few minutes, but I want you to practice it every day for a week, multiple times a day if you can. So by the end of 6 or 7 days, you're getting pretty good with that meditation. So now we'll go into week 2. And now we'll talk about how to run energies up and get you grounded to Mother Earth. Run that energy through your legs. We'll get the energy from the divine coming down your back. We'll mix it in your root chakra and let it bubble up through all your chakras, out your head, through your aura. So we're just adding more energies in there. We're really talking about getting into the center of your head, where your third eye is, your command center. We all have a reading screen outside of our brow chakra, right out of our eyes. This is how we see the world. But we want to make sure we're in the center of our head and we're the ones driving our body. We're not allowing other beings without bodies or energies or entities to be controlling part of our bodies. So we'll talk about getting back into the center of your head. So each week then we keep adding more tools. So then week 2, the meditation will be a little bit longer, but again, it's less than 10 minutes. It's not a big time the audio training. There's worksheets and PDFs to follow along with to have you learn those tools. And then week 3, we have more tools. Week 4, we have more tools. So by the end of week 4, you've got a deeper understanding of your chakras, your auras, running earth and cosmic energies, grounding, finding the center of your head, and these protection tools, putting out these protection roses. And we even use a term called a sticky rose, or it might be, you might think of it as a broom or a rake. But some of these energies that you picked up, you might have inherited them. They may have come from mom or dad or young childhood. They're in there pretty deep. They're pretty rooted. They don't want to leave. So we'll use sticky roses, or like I said, think of it as a rake. We'll rake through your energetic bodies and teach you how to rake these out and get rid of those energies. So in a 4-week program, you'll have a daily practice that you could meditate, use these tools, and you may want to go on from there. But at the end of that 4 weeks, you'll have everything you need to live a happier, healthier, more abundant life. So, yeah.
And why wouldn't you? With being able to clear your energy of all the junk that it picks up every day. I mean, it just, I'll let you know that I do know, Bob, but I use these tools myself, and they are just life-changing. It's really interesting. When I was first introduced to some of these tools, it was in a way to learn more about being clairvoyant. But really and truly, I've learned how much it's changed my life, as far as feeling more myself and feeling comfortable and clearing away images and belief systems that really were not mine. So I can't, talk up your program enough, because they really are life-changing. Now, you mentioned a little bit about your guides helping you with with your golden sun and other aspects. Do you need to know who your guides are to be able to do this program?
No, it's not required. Whoever your God is, whoever your supreme being is, it doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter your beliefs. We want you to connect with your higher guides. Take this to a new level. Our mentor said it best, that we are happiest and healthiest when we're in our own body. So we're going to really work on getting you back into your own body and stop being pulled away. And when you're in present time, so back to that sword, if you could just swipe off the past, imagine you could just cut off all your emotional past. Now, we can't do that. That would wipe us out for days or weeks, and we wouldn't want to get out of bed. So we need to work on releasing the past, but getting rid of all these energies to get into present time. I mean, how important it is to look ahead at the adventure. I mean, we live in an amazing time, and there's so many amazing things going on, and there's so many opportunities. But a lot of people come to me and they're not there. They're still hung up in the past. They're being down by the past. They're being drugged down by a past relationship or the world or thing. And I'm like, not that those weren't important, but there's no need, and no one said you have to carry that burden. So let's get rid of those and get into the present and move forward. There's still going to be obstacles and things we run into. That's why we use the tools. But if we get in our own head, we get in present time, and then we run our own energies, we disconnect from the other energies that are out there running our own earth and cosmic. That's where just you'll live an amazing life when you get there. So it's easy to explain those 3 points. Just that's our job, to help people on the journey of finding the tools to do what it takes to get to that point. So
right.
I love helping clients. I love taking sessions, but I really love when a client takes my course and says, oh my gosh, that just changed my life totally. That's what we're here for. So
I agree. It's funny. I just experienced something that I think is right along these lines. Being a sensitive, somebody that's, your emotions tend to be high sometimes. And this program has taught me so much about being neutral and grounding out things that don't belong to me. I'll give you an example. I worked on an editing project for 2 days, and my computer locked up and the whole thing was corrupted and lost. Now, any other time, I probably would have cried over the sheer amount of wasted time. But it's really interesting using these tools, looking at it from a different perspective. had a completely different reaction. I wasn't happy, but I certainly didn't fall apart like I might have in a previous lifetime. So it's little things that you notice when you do this program where you go, wow, my life has really changed. Anxiety is another one. You talk about being in the past, always worrying about what's coming up. It's interesting how your anxiety tends to calm down when you're in present time, not worried about what your future is. So I just think this is an amazing service that you're offering, and I hope that people take advantage of it. So if you can, for me, tell me a little bit about how they find you, what types of courses you're offering right now, and just give the audience a little idea of where they can go to find your services.
Yeah, my primary website is gettinganswers.com. So just as it sounds, gettinganswers.com. There you can learn all about me. I have all of my different session options, emotion code, body code, clairvoyant healing. And then it has the link over to startanewfuture.com. So if people really want to, as the term is, start a new future, if you want to change your life and really learn these 6 tools, that's where you're going to go. You can download the first lesson for free. You'll get I think it's a 90-minute audio to get the training, kind of the lecture and some practice. And then there's also an audio there with the meditation file. So you save that to your phone or computer and just put it in your calendar, make it a habit, listen to it every day and learn those first tools and just start this process of daily meditation, connecting with your energies, removing the past. And so that's where we find there. Now, I took an 18-month course. There's over 50 tools, 50 classes. That's why it's so overwhelming. There's more beyond that. That's going to be after you complete that first class. We will talk and reach out. We're working on, we've had some suggestions of having a more of a private group on a weekly event or monthly events. So we're talking about using that with some of the tools, but the more advanced tools beyond that, some take the class and they're great. They've got a new outlook on life and everything's good. Others, like us, wanted to pursue and go further. They may be another teacher, they may be another healer, and that we would just talk one-on-one after that. So.
Sure. That's wonderful, Bob. I'm really excited for you. I think this is a wonderful program, and I hope people take advantage of it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And we thank Bob for sharing all of his knowledge. And we hope if you enjoyed this content that you'll go ahead and like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.